And hello to all of you out there in the BTSC Fantasy Football League. Just going to give you guys an update on just everything that is going on. Again, the draft is July 19th and 20th, taking place live on the BTSC site. It's going to be at 7 o'clock. The original announcement was 8 o'clock Eastern. That is going to be moved up to 7 Eastern by request, just because we don't want it to go into the middle of the night and the wee hours of the night. We just don't want that to happen. We already have someone in a different continent, I believe, who's in a totally different time zone. We'll already be drafting at like 2 in the morning. So we really don't want to make that any worse than what it has to be. And I think 7 o'clock will work out well for everyone. If you do have a problem with that, please let me know. And, we'll discuss and figure out what is going on. But just a couple things, a couple reminders, just a few things, to keep track of as we get close to the draft. One other announcement I want to make is that there's going to be a 2 QB limit when you're drafting. Now, in a league this big, I don't know exactly why you would want more than 2 quarterbacks, but nonetheless, we don't want someone, same thing with kickers and defenses. We're not going to have people drafting, 7 kickers, 7 quarterbacks, whatever, just so that some people may not be able to get any. We don't want to have that issue. So we're going to leave it at a 2 QB limit. The reason that really both that change and the next change I'm going to talk about is because I did not expect it to get to 16 teams, to be quite honest with you. We struggled just to get to 10 teams last year. There's a chance that we may end up going down to 14. There's one person that I'm in talks with right now that at a conflict come up may not be able to do it. If that is the case, we will end up going down to 14 more than likely. But if he stays in, there's one other person from BTSC that I'm trying to get into the league, but we'll see what happens with that. It's not a definite yes at this point. But things will work out. We will have a full league by the time we get there out. We will find a way to make it work. But the 2 QB limit is the one change. The other thing is a 90-second pick time. Now, we can be a little bit more lenient with this if we go down to 14 teams because we won't have quite as many picks. I mean, you're talking 30 fewer picks in the draft. So we can be a little bit more lenient with the 90 seconds, but it was originally going to be 2 or 2.5 minutes. We're going to cut down the pick time to 90 seconds just because we want to keep things going. We don't want this to go into the middle of the night. With 16 teams, there's a potential it could go to around 11 o'clock. We really don't want to push it past that. So that's the reason why. If Corral is starting to bog down, refresh the page. And then come back down to the comment section. If it doesn't get much better, let me know, and we can move to a fan post section, which we probably will do at some point during the draft. I'm just not sure when. It'd be good to at least be able to get halfway through on the front page. Then I'll just post the link. I'll have a fan post ready to post I'll just have it saved and ready to post whenever we need it. And then we'll just all hop over there. I'll drop the link in the draft thread on the main page, and then we'll just all jump over to the other article if it starts bogging down some, just to make sure that things can keep going. We want to make sure that people aren't having trouble getting their pick in within the 90 seconds. You shouldn't, if Corral is, not making things difficult. So those are just a couple things, a couple changes just to make sure you're aware of. If somebody does not show up the night of the draft, as far as I know, everyone in the league is still engaged. I've done one roll call. We'll do another one probably this upcoming week at some point just to make sure that everyone's still in, everyone's doing well. But if someone were to not show up, were to totally forget about it, just, was a complete no-show, we're going to give them the highest rated player on NFL.com's rankings. It'd be just like if your team was auto-drafted. Okay, that's what would pretty much happen. Now, if somebody realizes that their first 3 picks have all been receivers, okay, we're probably going to get them a running back or a quarterback or something other than a receiver, even if the receiver is the best available player on the NFL.com rankings. So that's the only thing that I really foresee potentially slowing this down. If everyone shows up I think we'll all have a good time with it. It'll all be good. Yes, it is longer than a traditional draft, but I think it is going to be fun. We'll all enjoy it. I know some of you that are newer to BTSC are not as familiar with the comment section, not familiar with open threads and things like that, but they are fun and stuff. They're very casual. We'll have fun, just like, it's like a virtual offline draft, where you go and meet your friends somewhere and do the draft. That's kind of what we're doing, except we're doing it in a comment section. We're doing it virtually. We're doing it really all around the world at this point. So, if you're not sure how it's going to work and you'd like to practice, let me know. We have a practice article in the fan post section up. If I need to start another one, I will. But just to make sure you get the idea down, making sure that you are familiar with commenting, submitting it, just getting used to the idea of it. I'll have you open up the fake draft thread that we have in the fan post section, and then the Google Sheets document. You'll want both of those open the night of the draft at all times. And then you'll see the pick tracker update as you give me a fake pick. I mean, we had fun with it the other day. Some of us, we were drafting guys, like Dree Archer, Sammy Coates, Limas Swede, guys we would never take in fantasy. We're not going to give away our real draft plans. But, we had some fun with it. But, don't give, who you're actually thinking of taking. Just give us a fake player, and, I'll update the pick tracker, and you'll see it update. And then, after that, we'll just, try it a couple times. Then once you're used to the idea, that'll be all. But just so you have an idea of that, I think that'd be good if you haven't practiced yet. I know there's a couple of you that I'd like to practice with for a couple minutes, just to make sure everything goes smoothly the night of. I'm not super concerned at this point, but there are a couple of you that I haven't seen comment a whole lot, and I mentioned this when we drew for the draft order. Just make sure that you're commenting every now and then. You don't have to comment on every article, everything, but just comment, if you can comment once a day on something, or, if you can't view the site once a day, maybe, comment a couple times in one day, and then a couple days later comment on a couple other things, just so the moderators know who you are, so the BTSC community that's watching the draft knows who you are. That would be helpful, and you also get used to commenting on the commenting platform that is Corral, which is interesting at certain times. Just a couple other things. You will not have to wait to be put on the clock after round 1. For the first round, just like the NFL draft, I'm gonna announce, who's on the clock, just to make sure everyone gets familiarized with the draft order. We're not going to go terribly fast right at the beginning. We just want everyone to get the hang of it. But after that, if you see the person before you is submit their pick, you see what the pick is. You don't wait for me to tell you that it's your turn. Just go, because right once that pick's in, your time starts. So, don't wait for me to, put you on the clock. You're good to go. So just, be ready, really have an idea of who you want to take, or at least a couple players in mind in case they're taken. But just make sure you have an idea of who you're going to take when you are on the clock. That will speed things up, just so you have some ready to post when it's your turn. The other thing in terms of commenting, one of the few positives about Corral is, being able to post GIFs, images, videos, things like that. Couldn't do on the old commenting system. But it does bog it down sometimes. So we're going to try to avoid posting any sort of GIFs, images, any sort of videos, things like that. Yes, they can be funny at times. It can lighten the mood. But just to make sure that Corral doesn't bog down too much, we're going to try to avoid those. We wouldn't have them in a normal draft chat anyways on NFL.com, so we're not losing anything there. It's just, let's try to avoid that so that, we don't have trouble with it bogging down. As I mentioned already, keeping the pick tracker on Google Sheets and the draft thread open at all times, just so you can go back and forth. You're going to, also, like I mentioned, you're going to want to have your own list of rankings. And, I would recommend 250, but especially if we only have 14 teams, really 200 is all you're going to need. I mean, you shouldn't need past 200. I mean, the draft would really have to go against you if you're taking guys outside your top 200 in this draft that only has 240 picks. But I would say 200 is probably a good number. If you want to go longer, that's fine. But I would recommend getting at least 200 players ranked so you have something to go by the night of the draft. You can cross players off as they're taken, so you're not drafting the player that's already been taken, okay, because that would really slow it down. So, that's just another thing to keep in mind. As players come off the board on your own big board rankings, whatever you want to call them, cross the name of the player off so that you know that he is not available. The pick tracker will keep track of that as well, of who's taken, but you also don't want to have to scroll all the way up, figuring out, who was taken 3 rounds ago and stuff. It will give you an idea of who was just taken if you missed a couple picks, if you had to refresh the page and you missed something, that's more of what it is for. But you do want to make sure that you're crossing off players. It wouldn't be a bad idea to, after the first night of the draft, go back and check on the Google Sheets pick tracker just to make sure you have all the players crossed off the list that are taken. But that's entirely up to you. We're going to see how the first night goes. This is the first time we're doing it in this way. We've never done it in this exact format, but those of you that have been with the site for a while, we've done mock draft threads similar to this. I mean, we have the game day threads, all the time and stuff. So we're used to long threads. But this is going to be fun. It's not just going to be, we're posting the pick. We got to be real serious about this. This is fun. You're going to have different people from the BTSC community probably chiming in the comment section every now and then. They're going to be watching us draft. You can, trash talk as long as you remain somewhat respectful in the process. You can have some fun with it and stuff. And I think we'll all enjoy it. If you're just not sure how it's going to go, just give it a chance for the first night, and we're just gonna all see how this goes. But I'm confident that we're gonna have fun with it. It's gonna be good for the site. We're gonna enjoy it. So it'll be kind of a virtual offline draft. So I'm looking forward to it. Both nights, the articles will be posted at 6:30. I do need to double check with that. I need to make sure with Jeff Hartman, make sure that that is not an issue. But more than likely, that will go up at 6:30. That will give everyone a half an hour to check in, so we know all the GMs are there. Because right at 7 o'clock, we're not waiting for any GMs that haven't showed up. At 7 o'clock, the draft is starting. Just like what we would do on a normal, on NFL.com if we were doing the draft there. If you're late, too bad. So make sure, I know the draft starts at 7, but try to get there as close to 6:30 as you can, just so you can get everything set up. You can make sure you're not having any trouble with your internet connection. You have both tabs open, both the Google Sheets pick tracker and the BTSC draft thread. So that's just something to keep in mind. The draft will start at 7, and then if you want someone who is potentially going to be a no-show for part of the time, I know there's one person I talked to. I believe he's one of the ones that is no longer in the league. But if you're someone out there that cannot be there for the entire time, the draft starts at 7, but you can't make it until 8. Let me know if you cannot find someone to draft for you. I'll do what I can. If not, we'll just auto draft like we would for somebody else. But if you can find somebody else, feel free to if you can find somebody's email on Behind the Steel Curtain and that's not in the league, let them know, or let me know. Give me a list of players. I'll see if I can find someone to help me out the night of, to help draft for you. So, that's just something to keep in mind. If you're not going to be there at the beginning and if you want certain players rather than just being auto-drafted for those picks, give somebody a list. Let me know if you found someone else who's going to draft for you while you're not there, just so I know, so that we don't auto-pick someone else for you, just under the assumption that you're not going to be there. So I think that's all of the announcements that I have. If you have any questions, concerns, feel free to email me. You know my email. You can email me through the fantasy page. I think that's all. I don't think I'm forgetting anything else, but if there's something that you're not sure about, just feel free to contact me. It is going to be a little bit longer than normal of a normal draft, but I think we're going to all enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you're looking forward to it. I am as well. I'm still trying to find someone to help me with update the pick tracker one of the nights, but we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I think that's all I've got. So if you have any other questions or comments, just let me know. But outside of that, just get ready. Get your rankings ready. Get ready to draft the night of. If you want to practice, let me know, and we'll set up a time where we can practice in the comment section. I'll be updating the pick tracker. You can make your pick, and you can watch it update, and you can kind of get the idea of what it's going to be like the night of. that's going to do it all. That's going to do it all for today. So thank you very much for taking this time. It took about 15 minutes, a little bit longer than what I anticipated, but hopefully this clears up, any confusion that some of you may have and that we all may have in our minds. So just keep all those things in mind, and I think the draft will go over very well. So we will see you in about 2 weeks. It's getting really close. July 19th and 20th. Make sure your calendars are marked. 7 o'clock Eastern is when it starts. 6:30 is when you're going to want to get yourself in order, get it ready. Get the article up, get the thread, get into the comment section, and, check in, let us know that you're there. So that's going to do it all. So for now, anyways, if I think of anything else, I will be sure to let you guys know. But outside that, just get ready for the draft. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you are as well. And we'll see you later.